to the Miller's Edge guest line, and a guy that covers Alabama baseball, a guy that knows a lot more than we do when it comes to Alabama baseball, and that's why he is the number one guest right here, right now. Chris, how you doing on this lovely Friday?
Gentlemen, I'm doing great. Coming to you from the birthplace of Krispy Kreme donuts, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
There we go.
No, I have not partaken yet, but that'll be done soon. But I hope you guys are good.
Oh man, we're doing great. I just appreciate you squeezing in some time for us. I know you're busy.
Yeah, man. Glad to.
Absolutely. You got big shoes to fill now, Chris, and I know you're used to it. After filling in for Eli Gold, but Roger Hoover's been on the show twice now, and he's knocked it out of the park. So you got some big shoes to fill coming on here now, Chris.
Look, man, he's the home run hitter. I'm just trying to get a single in the gap somewhere. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lean into a pitch, get on base. I'm just trying to reach, man. Just trying to reach.
That's right. Well, speaking of hitting in baseball, we got you on here because you're the baseball expert. Not to mention a phenomenal guy. I mean, I want to get this in real quick. I know we're short on time, but I'll say this, Chris, you're a great influence and a great partner to have. I look up to you. You've helped me out so much on my broadcasting journey, so I just want to first and foremost tell you thank you so much for that, and I appreciate you for being a great friend and great teammate over with the Crimson Tide Sports Network. My dad forgot to mention this, 5-time Sportscaster of the Year, and very much well-deserved. But, Chris, I want to ask you, going back real quick to last week's regional hosted here in Tuscaloosa, the first one since 2006, you got to call some very exciting and thrilling games, both the Nichols game and the Troy. I mean, thrillers coming down to the wire. What was that like?
It's really special. And Christian, you remember that Texas A&M football game and really the Texas game down to the wire, and we unfortunately had one or two that didn't end the right way that were last play ball games as well in football season. Mm-hmm. When it comes down to one play, when it's a walk-off, win or lose, and all the tension and the excitement of that, from a broadcast standpoint, you got no say-so over the outcome. You got no input. You got to just describe the game, whether it's a blowout or whether it's like one we're just describing. So all you hope for as a broadcaster is that you get it right and that you do the moment justice. And, that's for other people to determine whether you do or not in that situation. But just as somebody who cares about Alabama and really cares about this team and this coaching staff and understanding what all they've been through, to see them, and like you said, it's been so long since we've had an opportunity to be at home in the postseason. To see them be successful and win and do what they did was incredibly exciting in different ways. The Jim Jarvis with a 2-out base hit just does a great piece of hitting going the opposite way with a pitch and getting it through. And William Hamiter is a pinch runner had come in a reserve role and scores the winning run. Then to flip it to the next day in that Troy game when it's a ground ball to short and you feel like you've lost, and all of a sudden they commit another error, and it not only gives you life, it basically gives you a win because of what you do in the bottom half of that inning. So it's just exciting when you get to see a group of people that you care about and appreciate and respect have success and get a chance to move on. It's a really cool thing.
Chris, of course, you said you're up in Wake Forest. Of course, we know this baseball team, number one overall ranking. Their regional play was superb. I mean, they knocked it out of the park, no pun intended there. I mean, They were scoring runs after run. They were falling out of the clouds. Now this matchup this weekend against Alabama and their pitching, which we have praised for the most part all year, right? They've been very solid. They got a big challenge in front of them this weekend.
They do. It's not a real big ballpark. I don't know the dimensions, but I'll be over there in just a little while and check it out in person. But they really they're a very good offensive club, but they do have some great pitching on top of it. The thing with Alabama is, finally got their pitching staff healthy. They still don't have the top two most talented, most heralded guys, and won't have them in available to them, and Ben Hess and Grayson Hitt, who we thought were going to be the 1 and 2 guys going into the season. But with Luke Holman as the Friday guy now, or the number 1, and Garrett McMillan and Jacob McNary, those are 3 good, veteran, talented guys that know how to pitch. The offense for Alabama is doing things in a special way, and defensively, they've been outstanding. So if they can just be who they are, I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I know they'll have a great chance at competing and earn that first trip to Omaha in 25 years.
Chris, what is it about this baseball team that makes them so effective and so dangerous? I mean, we've seen that, they might not have won every game or every series they played, but they always put themselves in position to win. And as of late, they have been winning these games. So what is it that makes them so effective?
Veteran guys, I think, first and foremost, Christian, the veteran leadership, and they got a bunch of old guys from a baseball standpoint on this roster that don't get phased when things aren't going well. I think a prime example, when you lose your head coach 5 weeks ago, as they did, and how they've managed that and been able to persevere and just keep their heads down and go to work, but also the leadership of the interim head coach and Jason Jackson to be such a steady presence, guiding the ship, if you will, just right through what could have been some really, really, really rocky waters. But they just went out and played baseball, man, and they've handled things so incredibly well. Even in the perfect situation, it's such a tough league week in and week out. So to finish down the stretch like they did, then to play well in Hoover, give themselves a chance to host a regional, come through the way they did this past weekend and earn the right to go to a super for just the third time in the last 25 years. It's a really, really great thing to see.
Chris Stewart's our guest. He will be on the call this weekend. Alabama travels up to Wake Forest. Super regional, as you mentioned, it's been 25 years, been a long time, but they will have an opportunity. I must ask you this question before we let you go, and I know you got a lot to do. You were just alluding to Jason Jackson. I've been his spokesperson. I've been the guy that's, going around this radio airway saying he needs to be the head coach. He's done enough already. But I believe if he gets out of this super regional and they go to Omaha, to me, it is a slam dunk who Greg Burns should hire. What says you?
Yeah, I say Greg Burns, my boss, is what I say first and foremost. And I want to keep it that way. But look, let me tell you, there's nobody better, and I mean this sincerely, there's nobody better to make the decision than Greg Burns because of the kind of leader he is and his ability to assess. However, I will say that Jason has done an unbelievable job. The program itself, I mean, we're going to lose a bunch of great veteran players, but with the signing class they've put in place, if Greg determines that JJ is the right guy, I think he will be extremely successful. And I will say that if he's not the head coach at Alabama, he has more than earned the opportunity to be a head coach somewhere next year. I love the guy. I have great respect for him. My personal hope is that he's the guy in Tuscaloosa next year. But it's nice to know, and I do mean it sincerely, not just because he is my boss. Greg's the guy to make the call on this, and I know it'll be the right call, and it'll go with a lot of thought and a wise decision will be made that's best long term for Alabama. But I'll tell you, if regardless of what happens this weekend, just like you said, JJ has done a phenomenal job, and it's one. The fight song, Bama's Plucking Grit, have writ her name in Crimson Flame. Yeah. Well, JJ has done that with his pluck and grit, but his leadership and the steadiness in which he has managed a horrible situation so incredibly well. I'm happy for him and hopeful that this is going going to be another great weekend, and it's going to be a situation where, personally, I have no problem saying I hope he's the head coach at the University of Alabama for a long time.
I agree with you 100%, Chris. Chris, thanks so much. I know you got to go. You're crunched for time, but thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us here on the Miller's Edge. Before we let you go, tell everybody how they can listen this weekend and where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, we're on your family of stations. If I'm not mistaken, we're on your station there in Tuscaloosa, but also the affiliate list on RollTide.com, but also the Varsity app is a very convenient way to find us anywhere for any of our CTSN broadcasts. But we do go on the air at we go on the air at 10:55 Central tomorrow morning with an 11 a.m. first pitch for Game 1 of the Super Regional. They haven't set the start time for Game 2, and certainly not for a Game 3 if it's necessary. But we do go on the air tomorrow morning, so grab you a biscuit, some coffee, and hope you'll join us as we get things going tomorrow. Really appreciate you guys. I'm happy for you both that you're getting this platform and this opportunity to do your own show. I can't imagine how special it is to do this together, and I appreciate you having me on, and I hope you'll call me again soon.
Absolutely. Man, we appreciate you, and I know how tight it gets when you're traveling, doing radio and media. So we wish you well. I wish you a great call, and we wish that the tide will roll for sure and get a chance to go to Omaha. So, man, we'll be watching, we'll be listening, and have a great time. And please don't eat too many donuts.
That's something that would be said every day of my life, whether I'm outside the headquarters of Krispy Kreme or not. See you guys. Y'all be good.
Right.
Yes, sir, Chris.
Take care, man. I say that, Chris, just the fact I've had 3 donuts already this morning and some coffee. So
I thought you were on a keto diet.
Some days.
You pick and choose.
It's like,
They're the most inconsistent when it comes to that keto diet.
Yeah.
Listen. Keto, is that a new donut? Is that like a
it might
keto?
As well
that's
be.
Right next to that's right next to the crullers and the cream field, isn't it?
Yeah, it might as well be, Chris.
Sugar-free, baby. Sugar-free from Shipley's down here. All right,
Go
man.
get
Appreciate
it done.
All right,
See
take
y'all.
care.
See you, Chris.